Did you see this from the bench? Because he made it all the way to the ball.
I did. He had more game action than I did. So it was a live ball and he went for it. He went onto the field and took a okay first touch, a pretty bad second touch, but then tried to
That
like
was
dribble a guy and everybody's like, "Wait a
I'm
second.
sure it's
what
playing
happened?"
right now. Yeah, that first touch is pretty nasty.
Yeah.
It's just that time again. It's time for the Player Manager Podcast. I'm joined by my illustrious guest, Julian Gressel of Inter Miami. I'm Zealand Shannon,
Wait
and
a
this is
second.
my
Guest?
podcast. Oh,
Guest?
the takeover
You
failed.
call me guest now?
The takeover failed. It was worth a try. I don't know.
Come on, man.
Maybe you're right. I'll never do that to you again. But congratulations, team, with a win this weekend. So you're coming in smiles and with immaculate hair as always, which is good to see.
Thank you. I appreciate it. How I saw on your Instagram you had some MLS action this weekend yourself, so I'm excited to hear about your experience and how that was too.
Oh, of course. No, we've got a lot of exciting MLS stuff to talk about. I did get to go to an MLS game. I was treated by MLS to a VIP experience at New York Red Bulls. I had octopus in the box.
Wow.
I know. Yeah. I had it was Portuguese grilled octopus.
Okay.
Now I didn't know.
New
I was
Jersey.
expecting, like in New Jersey at an MLS match. So that was definitely something that I'd had on my bucket list, obviously, for a long time. I was very glad that I had the opportunity to check it off. I also, they had a whole dessert station. So I got to watch some of the game when I wasn't picking up another donut. That was fantastic. Oh, apparently there's a huge neighborhood, Portuguese neighborhood in Harrison. So that actually was an homage to the locality around the New York Red Bulls. I didn't even know that. Thank you to our producer Alexi. He knows everything.
Yeah,
it's like working with Google or something. I tell you, the other MLS news is not octopus related that we're going to talk about. There was a streaker and big results all over the place. And Wilfried Zaha. Also, I have a secret. We have a guest. It's Christian Ramirez, which is awesome. That's later. But we'll start with Houston v. Miami, which actually does involve the streaker. But the actual game where Luis Suarez dropped 4 goal contributions and Inter Miami righted the ship after what was a frustrating opening match that included a Lionel Messi yellow card, but didn't even need him for this one.
No, certainly a good trip for us down to Houston. And got away with the 3 points. Vintage performance from Mr. Suarez, and 3 assists and a goal, and vibes were good without Leo, and big 3 points to get off the board, and now we're at 4.
But it was smooth sailing during the match, but it was not smooth sailing after the match. So I'm be honest, I got to watch this red card that was handed out, and I know most of the people listening to this probably didn't see it, right? So can you explain to me what I'm watching here and how in God's green earth this is a red card that just got handed out?
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I was quite far away from it as well. I was a little bit. Game ended. I'm all the way at the other side of the field, honestly, getting ready to do some runs since I didn't play to keep my fitness up, and then I just see the referee pull out a red card, and I see Ian Fray being like, "What happened? What did I do?" So I guess I saw the video too. I guess in the video. And I talked to Ian, right? He tries to go into the locker room. He gets pulled a little bit by some extracurricular activities, and he just tries to free himself from, the Houston player that is grabbing him. And I guess the referee thought that he pushed him away on the neck. That is kind of the official statement, I think. And I don't know if I see that on the video or not. I think it's a little bit unlucky, obviously, that the ref is right there, and he sees it that way. Where I think Ian is just trying to get away. Like I said, he's not really trying to start a fight. I think it's more the Houston player who's trying to start the fight. And Ian, who had a great match, I thought played really well. Yeah, just tries to get away. We win the game comfortably. There's no need for any of that, and he knows that. So definitely a tough situation, and we'll kind of see. I know, obviously, that the disciplinary committee they look at everything, especially red cards like that, and so we'll see if they overturn it or if it stands, and Ian will have to sit out a game.
No, what's the old adage? It's always the second guy that gets punished.
Yeah, exactly.
That's exactly what this was, because that guy came right up to him and he's talking trash and he's saying "and your mother" and this and that and the other thing, and he just this legally feels like self-defense. I feel like I could win that court case that this was self-defense and trying to push him off him, but referees, it confuses me. This he's right there trying to prevent the Houston player from starting it and then still manages to punish the second guy. I don't know why in the human condition that's just irresistible.
Yeah, I don't know, and again, I think it's about where he pushed him. Like if he had just pushed him in the chest, I don't know. It's about the neck.
Oh,
That's what the referee thought about. Like it was in the neck
okay.
area. You can't touch the neck or the head of another player, I guess, and obviously that forcefully. So that's what the ref saw. I think I don't know if I see that or if anybody else saw that, but um, yeah, that's just how it is.
What a fool. He should have just run up to somebody and shoved them in the chest and started yelling at them. That would have been totally fine. But
Exactly.
the only downside for the entire season for Inter Miami is picking up cards after matches. Then you guys seem to be off to a heck of a start. But the biggest loser, perhaps, for this the entire match is that, of course, Lionel Messi did not play. Now, while that normally is just a coach's decision or maybe a physio's decision, when it comes to Messi and the traveling circus that follows, that obviously we've talked about extensively here, that's a huge problem for the club that happens to be hosting, because they definitely sold really expensive tickets to that game. And they handled it. I mean, you can't pretend it's not happening. So you have to do something. They released a public statement that basically apologized that he wasn't going to play. Obviously, detailed the fact that they have no control over who the other team
Yeah.
decides to put on the field. And they did something that was kind of nice. They gave everybody that attended the match a free voucher to come back to another match. And outside of actually just giving people their money back or maybe reducing the price to the normal ticket price, which I don't think anybody's ever going to do, as much as it would be nice, that was at least something. We've seen a couple of teams take a stab at trying to handle this because obviously Messi can't play every game. What do you make of the way that Houston tried to handle it?
I mean, it's a tough situation, right, for the clubs to be in, and it's difficult because obviously a lot of tickets are being sold because of who we have on our team, and especially Leo. And um, I think I think they handle it okay. I don't really know what a good handling of the situation is.
What is the right way? You
What do you
can't
do
just
with it?
refund
You
everybody's
know?
tickets.
Yeah, it's
Yeah.
it's a difficult because it's also the biggest game of their season in terms of revenue and all that stuff. And I mean, it was still a very good crowd and a very good atmosphere to play in. So I imagined a lot of people still showed up, but how I don't know how would you handle that? Like, do you think it was all right or no?
Now, I think that there is a contingent of people, right? There's a kind of in the more tough guy side of the internet that were very much like, why are you caring about what the other team is doing? And I think that makes sense if you're in the Premier League or something.
Yeah,
But the stated purpose, like one of the stated mantras of MLS, is to help grow the game.
yeah,
And one of the biggest things that helps grow the game is that we've got guys like Lionel Messi, like Luis Suarez, like Julian Gressel, obviously, that are on these teams, that the people want to come see. And I know you're thinking, why the hell did you just say that? But don't pretend there aren't some people at those Atlanta United games that are coming out specifically because you're out there. Okay.
thank you.
But seriously, they have all these guys coming into the league. Wilfried Zaha, who we're going to talk about later, that people want to go see. And it's foolish to pretend that those people don't, like, they're going to the game to see that person,
Yeah,
right? And hopefully what you're hoping is they go to the game to see that person and go, oh, this is fun, I'm going to come back again,
hmm,
right? That's like the whole sales pitch of the entire thing. So I know there's a lot of people out there that say don't say anything because you want to be, like, grit your teeth and be competitive, and that's the enemy team and all those sorts of things. But I'm okay with releasing a statement and trying to do something. It's such a hard PR thing to handle, though, because I think, unfortunately, there's nothing you can do where nobody's mad, right? You do nothing, a bunch of
yeah,
people are mad because they
yeah,
don't get to see Messi. You do something, people are mad at you because all of a sudden you're
yeah.
devaluing the game in some way. It's not like they're not trying to win; they're just trying to, get more fans and get more people to fall in love with the game.
Yeah, it's almost like a lose lose for the for the team.
100%.
But
Yeah.
I see it from an economical standpoint too, where now those people get to come back, hopefully choose another game where they spend, hopefully the team wins that game. Like it's still a pretty good atmosphere. They get to spend some more money on concessions and have a little bit of money and revenue come in that way as well. Where those are big for teams, right? And that's like I said, big matches whenever we come to town with that. And um, yeah, it's a tough situation, but I'm okay with what Houston did, and I would have also been okay, I think, if they didn't say anything, because at the end of the day, it's out of their control and they can't do anything about it. So it's just kind of how each club, I guess, values that situation is different and sees that situation is different. So yeah,
Probably it's even as granular as down to how connected that club feels with their fan base or what situation they're in, competitively
yeah,
or otherwise. But the fans themselves have to find their own ways to deal with it. And I've actually been in this situation before, and I can't believe I'm only bringing that up now because we had tickets to go watch Messi play in Orlando because my parents live in Tampa, about an
yeah,
hour and a half away. And then he rolled his ankle, right? And he didn't play in the game.
yeah.
So my dad, who thought, it was going to be this fun family thing, he was sitting there and he sold them online for, pennies on the dollar of whatever they were purchased for before. But that I don't remember if they released a statement or not, because honestly, that was just kind of the risk that you take when you buy tickets that far in advance for a sporting event. You just
Yeah.
hope that they're going to be there. But I didn't handle it by drinking. Now there was there was a fan that
He
at
made
the
the most of
Houston
that
game.
night.
He did. Yes. No, he's like, look, if I spent all these money on tickets to get to this game, I am going to find the bottom of the bottle somewhere. And he tried. And then, he got a little lost, Julian. Did you see this from the bench? Because he made it all the way to the ball.
I did. He had more game action than I did. So he got it was a live ball and he went for it. He went onto the field and took a okay first touch, a pretty bad second touch, but then tried to
That
like
was
dribble a guy and everybody's like, "Wait a
I'm sure
second,
it's
what
playing
happened?"
right now. Yeah, that first touch is pretty nasty.
Yeah.
I mean, if you're watching us on YouTube, it's probably playing right now. But that's a sick little behind the leg
Yeah,
first touch. Like, okay,
I
and
know.
then the alcohol kicked in. Like you were, yeah.
I feel like
Yeah.
everybody was confused. The players, the referee, the guy himself, probably
Yeah,
security as well, because security took like 10 to 15 seconds to even react and come out. Yassine didn't even make the trip because Leo wasn't there, so he didn't come. But like other stadium security, they were like, wait a second, that's not even a player at first? It was pretty funny. And
yeah.
Jordi Alba, who was obviously the left back for us, he was looking over to the bench and he just started laughing so hard. Mascherano on the bench and everybody, including us on the bench, were just chuckling and really laughing at how that guy handled that situation and how seamless he just got on the ball. I feel like he maybe he stood there for like a while too. I don't know if he like timed it
It
just
was.
perfect with that ball. It was just fate for him to just be in that moment.
It was. I mean, I'm watching the video over again, and it's like he's jogging where the ball's eventually going to be before
Yeah,
anyone else even
it's
knows it's there. He has some
yeah.
sort of drunk premonition of exactly where he needed to be to actually be able to touch the ball.
What a
It's
moment.
it's like no, it's seriously, he was moving so slowly and so confidently that I think that's what threw everybody off. Because when you're looking for a streaker, you're expecting somebody that's kind of frantic and panicky, and they're sprinting out there, and they're
Yeah.
very all. He's just sauntering over to the corner, just no fast moving objects in the peripheral vision. Nobody's paying attention, and he just walks right up to the ball. And that was actually a friend of the podcast, Ben Kremoski, was the guy that was chasing the ball down. I can't even imagine what he's thinking when he's like, I beat the defender to the ball, and I get tackled perfectly by this random drunk guy.
Uh,
And
Amazing.
he ignores the security too, which is
Yeah, he tries
just
to dribble
the
around
final
or
cherry on
something.
top. Yeah, he
Yeah,
does.
this is funny. No, but
He's
remember
trying to
how
get a meg in on the security.
I think what was it like a few episodes ago? We got a question. By the way, send questions that we can answer from I think a
We
viewer,
have more
right? That
later in this show
we
with
do.
Christian. It's gonna be
Yes.
great.
But I remember we got a question about pitch invaders, and I answered. I don't think I've ever seen one without like if Leo wasn't there, and this was probably the first one. we got that Leo, where Leo wasn't present, wasn't on the field. But honestly, this was probably the best one I've ever had by far. Like absolutely incredible and just hilarious to witness in person, and everybody got a good laugh out of it. And I'm hoping he. I mean, I'm sure he get a stadium ban, but I'm hoping he didn't get in too much trouble.
Yeah, no, well, that's the thing. It's non-threatening. The only thing he's a danger to is like the legs of his opponents, with the nutmegs and
Yeah,
stuff. That's the only thing he's a danger to. It's an endearing feel. Like you don't want to encourage everybody to just get completely hammered and go on the field and try and play the ball, but that is the best case scenario if you're going to get a field storming. Is like it's a take five, and that the shot when they switched to Javier Mascherano is hilarious. Like
yeah.
he is, I
So
just weird to see. I don't.
so how
It's just
come?
weird to see him in manager clothes. I don't know. Sorry.
Yeah, no, but he looks. Oh, that jacket was nice. I like that jacket a lot. But how come you didn't try and do something like that in New York when you went to the game? How was that experience?
It was so cold, man. I was in the suite. I wasn't even outside. It was such a tease. We'll get into it. We got our favorite MLS moment of the week. Dun dun dun. New segment theme song is currently in production. But yeah, mine was obviously at the New York Red Bulls game I was able to attend. And it was such a tease because earlier in the day, about 55 Fahrenheit, which is,
Oof,
if you're keeping track in the Celsius department, real cozy, like 15, maybe 20 Celsius. I mean, you're really
nice.
comfortable.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, it dropped 30 degrees in 5 hours.
Oof.
So we go to lunch, it's 55 degrees. I'm in a t-shirt and long pants. We go to the game, the feels like was 17 Fahrenheit. That is like -6
Eee.
Celsius.
Yeah.
As the feels like for the season opener. And of course, this is the time when I'm having the conversation with my brother and I'm telling him that MLS is going to switch to a winter season. And we're sitting there, freezing our butts off in like hiding inside the suite, trying to figure out how they're going to play games in January in that field. But no, the special moment was we got to see 2 goals right in front of us. It's
Nice.
freaking awesome. And Red Bulls they looked really good. They looked really good. And it was Forsberg actually right on the corner of the box that we were on,
Yeah.
had a curling
Nice
Arjen
goal.
Robben type effort into
Yeah.
the top corner. And we were right behind that. I actually went, and that's what blew it
That's it. Yeah.
back in. Yeah. So that was definitely the highlight for me. But it was very cool to get those experiences because I love Portuguese octopus. What about you? What was your favorite MLS moment of the week?
Amazing. Well, I'm hoping you can make it out to many more games this season than you have.
Yeah.
But my moment, I think, was probably the game in Charlotte. Obviously outside of our games, I kind of exclude those a little bit. Where I watch around the league. But Wilfried Zaha made his debut, and 50 plus thousand people came out to the game. I think it was an early kickoff Saturday afternoon, 2 o'clock or something like that. And yeah, Saha's off to a good start, I guess. They beat Atlanta 2-0. I think he landed almost a day before or 2 days before because of the birth of his daughter, I believe, or another child.
Oh,
And
congrats.
yeah, played I think full 90 minutes and got the crown afterwards and everything. He probably had never seen anything like it before. I think there's a video out there too somewhere, but um yeah, he was probably like, "Where the hell am I right now? What is happening here post match? I get a crown, I get to meet the fans, shake the hands. Like, what is this? This is welcome to the US, buddy. Welcome to MLS."
Yeah.
Um,
Saddle up. It's MLS time.
that's right. But it's funny because we actually play him next week, so I'll see him in person next weekend. And yeah, excited to have a player like him in this league. And I think he'll only make this league better, and he certainly helped Charlotte win that big game against Atlanta.
100%. I saw his impressive performance on the timeline, and obviously loved all 30 years that he spent at Crystal Palace being their top player. And so that no, he is a vintage Barclays player, and it's just cool to have somebody like that still has a lot left in their
Oh
legs
yeah,
be an MLS. You definitely got to get him on the show though.
yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
track him down and hey, Wilf.
I'll speak with him next weekend. How about that?
Okay. Yeah.
Or maybe
That
we can
was,
ask Tim Marine, who's already been here, the kind of his teammate now on the left side there, and maybe
uh,
we can kind of
I did.
get
I
the
did
end.
get to watch Walker.
Oh yeah,
Another friend of the podcast, was at the game.
yeah,
Yeah.
nice.
No, and I felt bad. I was rooting against him. He definitely looked up in the stands and saw me and felt very perturbed that I happened to be kind of rooting on the other team in the hometown. So
Yeah.
I
All
might
right,
have started some drama there,
I'll
but
forgive you.
we'll
I
see
think.
what happens. Yeah. Speaking of drama, huge drama in Jamaica. Breaking news. You didn't expect that. Because Messi and co. and Inter Miami are all headed down to Jamaica to play Cavalier FC in the beautiful, wacky, and weird world of the CONCACAF Champions Cup. And I'm really only bringing this up. I mean, it is interesting. And Jamaica is going to host Messi and the Inter Miami traveling circus, and you, obviously. But also, this video clip.
So it's now official. The greatest footballer of the modern era. Some say the greatest player ever. Lionel Andres Messi should be on his way to Jamaica with his Inter Miami teammates. We're hearing National Stadium. We're hearing Sabina Park. Thursday, March 13th. Time, 8 p.m. And of course, this is Jamaica, so things don't happen smoothly. And with the embarrassing fiasco over where the game will be played, the speculation is now rife as to whether Messi will or will not make the trip to Jamaica. But Lionel Messi coming to Jamaica is too big a deal not to happen. Cavalier deserves it. Jamaica deserves it. If it means engaging Inter Miami, CONCACAF, the Jamaican government, the Ministry of Sports, even the Ministry of Tourism, let us give Lionel Messi the keys to the city of Kingston if necessary. Let us pull out all the stops. People, this is Messi. Surely, even Jamaica cannot mess this one up.
That is probably by far the best thing I have seen on the internet in a while, or especially leading up to that game. That is just hilarious of how, how it's going to be. I'm honestly really excited to go down there. Like It's going to be so interesting to see. Obviously, Jamaica, I've never been, but then also to see kind of the
Oh,
atmosphere and
really?
the people, and just based off that video, it's going to be hilarious. I feel like, but we'll see what it's going to be really like. But what a clip! What a clip!
Oh, that is what all sports reporting should be. That guy gives you the facts. He gives you the opinions. He gives you he gives it to you straight. He gives it to you. You feel like you're hearing from the local hero, and that's I no notes, no changes from one YouTuber to another. Subscribed. That's it. It's going to be awesome though, and that stadium's going to probably be rocking because soccer and football has been growing in
Yeah.
Jamaica, obviously. Too, as they've recruited a lot of the kind of dual nationals to come play for the team, and I think they have a good shot to make the World Cup. They've always had some issues with the FA and Leon Bailey, which it would take me about 2 hours to explain because that whole thing's just unbelievably weird. But as long as they can overcome that, it'll be awesome, and it's also going to be different because it's not that South American fandom style. It's a different, people aren't really familiar with the way that Caribbean crowds chant and sing at games.
Yeah, I'm really looking forward to it. I think we obviously have the first leg of the 2-leg series at home. We play now on this upcoming Thursday, and then we'll play down there. We'll see kind of what type of result we take there, and then it's going to be a very interesting first trip for me to Jamaica. So yes, it'll be my first time in Jamaica, and um, watching CONCACAF and watching the US play in Jamaica, for example, has me ready for like a field that is like just you shouldn't probably play soccer on it, even though I think they moved the game to a bigger stadium where they can now fit the 35,000 people in, and the atmosphere is going to be one thing, but then the actual playing conditions is going to be another, and it's going to be so interesting to just expand my CONCACAF horizon with that, and I'm so excited for it. I've been to Costa Rica, I've been to Peru, I've been to where did we go? Honduras now. I've been to El Salvador last year. Like I've been to some of these places, and to add Jamaica to the list is certainly a cool one.
No, you brought up a good point though, because scientists only recently just found a surface with more craters than a Caribbean national team pitch, and it's the surface of the moon. So it's definitely if Lionel Messi can do it anywhere, he's gonna have to prove he can do it on a Caribbean national team pitch. That's just the latest in a very long line, right?
Yeah, it's gotta be fun.
Well, and then just a little pit stop at Montego Bay on the way, back out. A few pina coladas, maybe.
Yeah, hang out a little bit. Yeah.
I might have to come down and join you for that part. Okay. It's time. We're about to take a quick break, and then we'll be back with Christian Ramirez. We are back, and we're not alone. We're joined by Christian Ramirez, former national team striker and current striker for the LA Galaxy after winning Leagues Cup last year with the Columbus Crew. Christian, hi.
What's up, buddy?
He's clapping for himself. That's the studio audience goes crazy. And allow me to be the last person to congratulate you on winning Leagues Cup a very long time ago.
I appreciate that. Good memories. Good memories.
You were last with us in May of last year, and you're on a new team. So what's it feel like to be back in LA? That was a good trade, right?
Yeah, it worked out pretty well. It came out of nothing really, and yeah, stoked about the result of it. And I didn't think I would ever play for essentially my boyhood club. So it's a dream come true.
I mean, we talk a lot, right? So throughout the off
Yeah.
season, throughout kind of preseason, I obviously know kind of what went into the trade, but kind of walk us through a little bit what you were thinking with the move. Obviously, I'm pretty sure you were excited about it, and what kind of comes with it, what your thought process was throughout. Obviously leaving at the same time as Cucho in Columbus,
Yeah.
where now they're down 2 strikers and all that stuff. Talk us through kind of your thought process a little bit, and obviously related to your family and all that stuff as well.
Yeah, no. So like everybody knew, my family and I loved it in Columbus. And essentially there was initial dialogues to sign an extension and open that door. I was really happy. My wife was happy, and my kids. Um, and then when we realized that essentially that door wasn't going to be opened anymore, um, uh, at a huge cost, you would say, then things started to pop up. And the big one was the thing to Colombia. That
Yeah.
I didn't know that could be possible. An offer of that magnitude can come from Colombia. And so we discussed it, and my wife was open to it, because obviously I'm 33, turning 34. It's a opportunity to get security for our family, for the long term. And the moment that I go to basically green light things, the Galaxy made a call, and I was just like, wait, hold up a sec. So that sort of door opened, and when a club like this called, it's very hard to say no,
Yeah.
especially the whole situation. My kids get to be with their cousins and grandma and grandpa at all times. My wife gets to be with her friends again. It's cool. I get to be around my friends, and they joke around the whole time of one day I was going to play for what they call Los Galacticos, and
Yeah.
and I am now. So it's cool.
That's amazing. It's
So
cool how it all happens in real time like that all of a sudden, right? Like
Oh,
the
dude.
quickness of those things when there's momentum, dude, it just rolls. So that's nice,
I
man.
felt like I didn't sleep for a few days.
Yeah.
The time wasn't moving. Um, and it was bittersweet because I had a moment with Wilfred, to be honest, that uh, I thanked him because at this point in my career, coming back from Scotland, I needed him. I needed somebody like him
Yeah.
to trust me and guide me the way he did. And yeah, I broke some tears. I won't lie about that, but it was just the relationship that I had with Wilfred, and that club. So I'm thankful for that, and then I'm thankful they did right by me.
now, how close were you? Because the way you worded it, I've got this mental image of you're picking up the phone, right, to call and say, yes, we're doing Columbia. And then you get the call while you're picking it up. Like, how close actually was it to that happening when LA Galaxy swooped in?
Yeah, as close to what you're imagining. but not over the phone.
Okay.
Yeah. So yeah, my face went pale for a second, because you already had in your mind. I had spoken to people. Um, my dad was getting calls from absolutely everyone that he could imagine, because and that's one thing I thought of was like, it'd be pretty cool for my dad to see his son play in a league that he's always
Yeah.
watched.
Yeah.
Um, and so we had some jokes like, who are you going to support when these two teams meet? Um, because it was his rival. He goes,
Yeah.
"Oh, I'll be wearing your jersey." I was like, "All right,
Okay.
so good choice." But yeah, it was close.
I like the thought
That's
process. Like that is a tough decision for him. So that was a big answer. You know,
Yeah,
that's the
for
way
sure.
it sounds. But LA Galaxy obviously coming off a championship season. What's it like stepping into a team? I mean, I know they've had a lot of turnover, but stepping into a team that raised the trophy last year and trying to get in stride with everybody.
I think that's been the toughest thing is like you lost such key pieces, whether to injury or salary caps and moves, stuff like that. So it's about trying to click as quickly as possible. And then once you start to find that, you get a few more injuries. So
yeah.
you just have to rally through this stage that's going on right now. But it's a great group of guys. The staff has been fantastic. I heard some great things prior to coming in, about this staff, and it's been nothing but um, great things, like they said.
Yeah.
So it's been awesome. Greg and his staff have very smart, do things very similarly that I've been accustomed to, just different verbiage. So it's been good to now be able to learn from a guy who's obviously won multiple MLS cups.
Yeah, it's funny how in MLS there's like you win a championship, right? And all of a sudden, I feel like you said it, you have a couple injuries, probably one of the top 5 players in the league in Ricky Puig, but obviously
Hmm.
massive loss. And then but all of a sudden you find yourself almost in like a rebuild. It's crazy how fast it goes from being the MLS Cup winner to now being like, all right, we got to find a way to get through this time, like you just said, and really rally through it together. And um, with new pieces, you get a guy in free agency, then you have to buy him out because you have salary cap restrictions, like all those types of things that are so unique to MLS. I
Yeah.
feel like are hitting you guys all at the same time. Um,
I
but
just got a headache listening to
yeah,
that now.
Yeah, that's
exactly.
so
There you
true.
go.
It's essentially what you said. It's hitting us all at the same time, and then at the same time, you're getting everybody's best game. Everybody's getting up for this game.
Yeah,
So it's just like, and that's one thing that I mean, I got to experience it last year with Columbus coming off of the MLS Cup. What, so I'm telling myself, like, this is part of my role on this team is to help guide this a little bit because I know the grueling schedule that's coming up.
yeah.
Keep your focus on these important things, and we'll be all right. So, yeah, but it's cool.
I was going to ask about my German boy, Marco
Ah,
Royce.
yeah,
I got to
what a
ask you about
guy.
him, man. I know he's,
What-
oh, so there you go. Yeah, but no,
Yeah,
he's
what a guy.
obviously come in last year and he's been publicly saying a lot of things about, when the people don't really care in LA, when you walk around, how he can just be out and about, nobody cares, how different it is to
Mhm.
Germany. And now, obviously criticizing MLS and the rules that we just talked about as well a little bit. How last year they won, and all of a sudden you have to, get rid of everybody. But how has he been in the locker room? Is he kind of a jokester? Easygoing? I mean, he's obviously towards the
Mhm.
end of his career, so I'm sure he's happy he's finally
Yeah,
won a trophy.
yeah, I think he says those things out of the competitive nature that he comes from.
Yeah.
Um, we we haven't had talks about rules or anything like that, but you could just sense the competitor inside of him.
Mm.
Um, and being that I'm from LA and he's asked me about certain things, we've talked. I know the area that he lives because I went to school like close by. But he's a great guy. He's loving it, and I think what he's getting to live a life that he probably thought he never could.
Yeah.
He was
Yeah.
telling me how he visited the U.S. A few years back, or a handful of years back, and he was like, "Man, someday I hope to like play here because he's walking down the beach and nobody's stopping him. He's getting to experience what a normal person gets to experience.
Yeah.
We actually had this conversation on the plane from Vancouver here, and it's sort of cool for somebody to of that magnitude to get to have those moments with his kids, with his wife. So I think he takes that uh, for what it's worth. But then he's in there really early, getting all his treatment done. Um, he's battled a few knocks, and I think when he gets his legs underneath him, I think he's going to show his class once again.
Yeah.
And I got him hooked on 22, so
Ah, there you go. I
yeah,
love that.
yeah.
You taking his money yet or no?
No, he won yesterday.
Okay.
But
Oh wow.
slowly we'll start to
That
reel him
was
in.
that must have been a long plane ride there from Vancouver because you're coming to
Oh
us here
man,
from Costa Rica, so must have been a lot of
yeah,
money.
it was what? It was oh no, we didn't play the full time.
Yeah, okay.
Yeah. We were both watching the new Olympics documentary on Netflix, and
Okay.
then played for the last few hours.
So for the
Nice.
layman, what is 22?
It's the game that runs through every MLS team. There's always a group in
Yeah.
every MLS team that that plays 22. Just a simple card game that passes time. Yeah.
I
Right.
brought it to the young guys here in Miami too. Actually, we've been playing a little bit. All the South Americans always play Parcheesi, I think it's called, on the iPad.
Yeah.
I guess that's
I was
what.
thinking that you were gonna get
Oh, cheesy.
everybody on 22, but
Yeah,
yeah,
not everybody has played, but we've all the young guys that mostly English speakers we're playing sometimes here and there. So it was nice
yeah.
actually.
It's
It's the
just funny
first time
how
really I think in Columbus where I played it. So
oh yeah, that was dude. It was addicting in Columbus. Everybody would jump on.
yeah, yeah,
But it's just funny how like everybody gravitates towards like that game. Once they see everybody having fun, they gravitate
yeah.
towards it, and then you get another group that starts playing it. And it's just cool for the team to pass some time.
Zealand, I'll explain it to you at some other time. Okay.
Okay, cool. Yeah, we can play sometimes. I gotta learn so that I can like take a couple million off Messi at some point. When we're down, and yeah, that would be nice. I'll retire from the podcasting at that point, and I'll disappear onto some island off the coast of Costa Rica. I think that's not that I've planned it out or anything. Uh, Playing in the Western Conference obviously is a transition. Just looking at the travel times, you're having to travel farther distances. You're already done Vancouver to freaking Costa Rica in CONCACAF Champions League now. What is the difference? Is that the only difference? And I know, Julian, you kind of have some experience in this too. You've played in Vancouver, for crying out loud. How different is the Western Conference from the Eastern Conference?
I think there's more external factors. Like you have the altitude in Colorado and Salt Lake. You have the heat in Houston, Austin, and Dallas. Good thing too about LA now is like you got LAFC, San Jose, and San Diego. So that those are short trips.
Yeah.
Um, Trying to think, you got the cold in Minnesota if you get them at the wrong time. Um, yeah, I think that might be the biggest difference because the Eastern Conference is so nice that especially when you're in Columbus, it's an hour flight everywhere besides down to Florida. You're an hour and 50. Um,
Yeah.
so you get you get back. The only good thing that I've heard is you're gaining time on the way back from most away trips, so you're never back too late. So that's a plus. And
Yeah, I think
I've heard about a nicer plane. I don't know if that's true or not.
that's for the MLS Cup champs out of LA. There you
Yeah,
go.
but let me tell you, it wasn't for this long trip. So
No? Oh man.
I don't see it coming.
No, but I mean, I think I agree. I think I mean, Vancouver is up there in the Northwest. That
Oh,
is far. So, um, honestly, those trips down to Dallas and Houston and well, for the Western Conference games, those are long trips. You get home at like 4 or 5 a.m. ish, but it's tough. So in that sense, I totally agree. I think the travel is and the elements there's certainly more variety within that in the Western Conference. In the East, we don't in Miami also we obviously have quite long trips as well. I think
mhm.
down because we're so far south, but I think when you're kind of in that middle zone where like Atlanta, Nashville to I don't know, New York-ish, it's like I don't know, 50 minutes to an hour trips
Yeah,
everywhere. So those are much easier, I think, than the Western Conference. So
for
totally
sure.
agree.
You said the plane maybe wasn't that good going down from Vancouver to Costa Rica. How long's that flight? And
It
did you get stuck in
was
a middle seat or something?
no, we had the whole row, but it was what 7:45. The
Wow.
worst part was we went to go land and they misjudged the landing, so we took off again.
Oh
And
no.
we had to circle around. That let me tell you, that wasn't a good experience because nowadays you're freaking out.
Yeah.
Yeah. So but no, it was good. And
Do you
the way that
play
they talked it out was we eliminated a flight back to LA, so we eliminated one leg for us
yeah.
to be fresher here. So I was good with it.
Okay. I mean, you play now. Today's Tuesday, so you play tomorrow against Herediano, and then I'm guessing fly back to LA pretty soon after.
Thursday morning,
Okay,
Oh,
Thursday morning.
and then we
Yeah,
play
probably
Sunday
not.
again.
Yeah, another long flight, similar to us. I mean, we play Thursday at home, then Sunday again, and then Thursday again. So it's tough to have these CONCACAF Champions Cup trips, and then long flights
Mhm.
within. But obviously, you guys are coming off, not you per se, but the Galaxy in general are coming off a short off season as well. So that's why you have all these maybe one or two injuries more than anybody else. But how are you? How are you seeing the season kind of play out? What are your personal goals? What are you trying to achieve? Obviously, with the team, I think those answers are pretty standard. But
Yeah, no.
let us into that thought process a little bit.
No, obviously, for me, I saw Darlington and what it meant to him to lift a trophy for his like hometown team and what
Yeah,
he called his hometown team. So I dream of that. Obviously, to be able to do that with the Galaxy would be incredible. So that definitely has to be up there. And then just to continue to evolve like I have the last 2 years under this new management, under this new team, and still find moments to be myself and be an important piece going forward. So that's pretty simple. And like you said, you know me, I just want to win, do whatever on the given day that it takes to win, and everything else will fall into place. We just have to somehow get through this little rough patch and then get the wheels clicking at the right moment. Hopefully get Ricky back at some point, which isn't a bad pickup to
yeah,
pick up whenever.
absolutely
I don't
not.
even know the date that so you're getting back somebody who was top 3 MVP candidates last year,
Yeah,
at a dangerous part of the season where you're in a good position. You get someone like him back, it could make your season.
at the start of the rough patch is going to be this big match is coming up tomorrow when this show comes out. I believe it will be just about happening. How familiar can you be with a team in Costa Rica? Have you ever even played in Costa Rica before?
I haven't. Julian, have you?
yeah, I have against Herediano, and I
Oh
scored
yeah.
there. So no pressure tomorrow, buddy.
Oh,
Yeah, I don't think we're playing at their stadium. We're playing at a different stadium.
Okay, yeah,
Um,
good. That's good. I'm guessing.
y- yeah,
Because
that's
when
what
I
we've been
played
told.
there, I played there in 2019, and it was that turf. Oh man, I think we lost the game 3-1, and I scored off like a deflected shot or something.
You got the all important
Um,
away goal.
yes, yeah, but we ended up winning the home leg 4-0, so it worked out, or would have worked out anyway. But at the same time, not easy trips down there.
We've heard there's a lot of traffic, so there might be a different
I remember that.
a plan tomorrow to leave earlier, and yeah, we'll see. They're coming up with it, but
Oh, I
um,
remember
yeah, I
this.
mean the hotel we're in is really nice, so
Yeah, that's
can't
what I just
complain.
said to the guys before you jumped on. I was like, "Where are they staying?" I was like, "Yeah, the hotel's nice." But I remember that we had a police escort, they called it, and it was one little
Oh,
motorcycle
yeah,
on
we
like a
so
moped.
guys are joking around asking if it was a food delivery driver.
Yeah. That's exactly what it seemed like, and there was
That's
so
so
much
funny.
traffic going there. Yeah, I feel you.
That's great.
But obviously, good luck. Thanks for jumping on. Thanks for talking to us a little
Yeah,
bit
no,
more about the trade and everything. And like I said, we talk a lot, so I'll be in your text soon. Again,
for sure.
really appreciate you doing this, and
No,
maybe we can
same.
have you on a third time, maybe like the first repeat guest, and we'll keep
Yeah,
you
yeah.
on as like
Yeah.
our Western Conference correspondent here.
Hey, there we go.
Yeah.
Sign me up.
You
Need
can just
a
brag
small
about.
royalty fee.
Yo, yeah.
Yeah. I wish we would get money for this, but not yet.
No, we're sponsored by that Netflix show that you mentioned earlier, right? That's how we're swinging this.
There you go.
Yeah.
Okay.
Okay.
All right.
Appreciate it, man.
Yeah, no worries. Thanks, guys.
We'll be right back with your question. All right, now that Christian guy's finally left us, okay, we can get to your questions that you sent in for us to answer. Thank you, as always, for sending them in on Instagram, on YouTube via the comments section, or by carrier pigeon. We get those as well. So just very, exciting developments going on at the Player Manager podcast. First question is from Eastman CL on YouTube. This one goes to Julian. Have you ever had trouble sleeping? Well, I've never had a big game, Julian. Have you ever had trouble sleeping before a big game? Do you have a specific routine for getting rest before match day?
Interesting questions. Yes, I think I've had trouble sleeping before big games, of course. I think it's quite normal. I remember bigger games like MLS Cups or those types of games for sure. You have trouble sleeping, your mind's going, you think about a lot of things and how it could play out the next few days or next day or so, and what kind of is at stake. So yeah, it's normal, I think, to feel that excitement and that nervousness, and it's a good thing because that means that you care. And I try not to get too carried away from it. I just try and take it as it is. Um, and in terms of a specific routine for getting rest before match day, no, not really. I mean, I try to do things the way I do them regularly, and I think the best way, what I found for my body, is that I need consistency, consistent bedtime, consistent wake times. The kids are going to be up in the morning anyway, so even they don't care if it's game day or not. They don't care if it's a big day, big game or not. So I gotta, still be up for them. Um, but again, I try and have a good routine throughout my whole week or the weeks leading up to it. Almost every day, I try and make sleep really a priority in general, and then game day, just kind of keep it steady. Did you have any of that before, like running the marathon? I'm sure you did.
No. Okay, well, the problem is when your matches are in the evening,
Yeah.
and so there's no. The marathon, you got to be up at like 5:30. Now, if anybody knows anything about me, probably the first thing you learn about me is that I'm more likely to stay awake until 5:30 than wake up at 5:30. So I start a week out shifting my sleep schedule, which usually starts with me staying up way too late and then forcing myself to wake up at 11. So, you go like a 6 a.m. to 11, and then you're really tired. So you go to sleep early the next night. And then you just kind of keep that.
Yeah.
I'm going to go to sleep a little earlier. I'm going to go to sleep a little earlier. And then all of a sudden, you're fine. But it gets screwed, though, because if you spent 7-8 months training for something and your whole life not eating too many cookies to make it easy enough to train for a marathon, you just don't get good sleep. You just never do. You'll roll around for an hour because you're thinking about it, and then you're asleep. But there's some about that sleep right before a really big moment. And I mean, I'm sure, like, I don't want to overdo the importance of a marathon, because what I'm about to reference from your life is way more important. But like your wedding, like the day before your wedding or something, where it's this seminal moment, and you're like, no matter how well you prepare, you could probably take a melatonin and you would still
be up for it.
Just not fully. Yeah, exactly. And then when you wake up, it's unusual because it's go time. Like there's something to do, where normally I'll roll around for a little bit and just look at the blinds and pretend I don't have to get up and do anything. So,
I mean,
I would imagine for most matches you're good, but that MLS Cup final or something, you're getting that type of experience.
Absolutely. But at the same time, like you said, I think MLS Cup final rolls around, the whistle blows. I don't care how much I slept. I could have been up for 48 hours and I would be flying, So it doesn't it doesn't matter in that sense too much, I think. And I think there's actually studies out there that show that, like Olympians, for example, they train, 4 years for their moment, and then every 4 years, if you only have that every 4 years, that's insane, and you obviously don't sleep. But I think there's actually studies out there that show that it's like the weeks leading up to it, the sleep is more important than actually just the night before. So if you don't get the
That's
best, if you
terrifying.
don't get the best sleep the night before, it's okay. But the weeks leading up to it, as long as you have good sleep hygiene, then I guess it's okay, and that's what I try to do. So
No, I just know at every Olympics, there's always somebody that spent 4 years getting really good at doing those backflips or whatever, and then they just got a cold,
yeah.
and it just just ruins the whole thing. I always feel bad for that one.
Well, I remember
person.
you
But,
even saying that you were like in the marathon. Remember, you were like
yeah,
super.
I ran a half marathon with pneumonia. Yeah, that happened.
Yeah, but you were also super
it was
careful
a half.
about
It was
not
a
trying
half
to get
marathon.
sick and stuff, right?
Oh
That's what
yeah,
I
no,
mean.
I would just
Yeah.
you just don't leave your apartment, your house for
Yeah.
weeks because you're not. It is not a thing that you physically can do if your body is not well.
Yeah.
And so it's very scary. And that was very difficult because Halloween was the weekend before the New York Marathon. And so all of your friends have these Halloween parties. I went as a surgeon, so I got to wear a mask and
Perfect.
that was my tactic.
Perfect.
It worked, I think, at least. Maybe no, my time was so slow because it definitely didn't work. All right, next question. And this one is redacted by request, but it is you both obviously have traveled a ton. What are some of your favorite places that you've been to that you weren't expecting or that you had no expectations for? So let's just go favorite place you've been to that you didn't expect to like. It's a good question.
Yeah, I mean, those quick trips that we have, the away trips, they're so quick and you don't really get to see a ton. So I kind of want to answer this a bit more broad. And when I got traded out of the blue to Vancouver, I'm not gonna lie, my initial reaction was like, I do not want to go there. To Vancouver, Canada. We were living in, Atlanta and then DC, and then all of a sudden, the trade out of nothing, I didn't know anything about it, to Vancouver. And honestly, I got there, to be fair, I got there in the summer, and it was just,
That helps.
absolutely beautiful. And we really loved living there. I loved the city. I loved the vibe of the city. I loved kind of, yeah, just almost everything about it. And it was a really, unexpected time for us to really enjoy that city that much as we did. I guess in general, honestly, the Pacific Northwest is beautiful.
Oh, it's
Yeah.
fantastic. When the sun comes out like 5 days a year, and it lights everything up, it's really
Yeah.
jokes aside though, I agree. It's the deep blue ocean. There's just something calming about it for me. I don't know. Maybe it's because I grew up on the Gulf and it was just that's a different vibe. That thing's a freaking hot tub most of the time. I have no idea what the answer to this question is. Obviously, when I go to these places, I get to spend a little more time there. I get to kind of marinate in it. I'm not hop, skipping, and jumping.
Yeah.
Place that I've been to that I didn't have any expectations for, so that I initially was insulting in my mind,
Yeah.
that I actually really liked. Glasgow, Scotland. All I ever heard was that it was dangerous and that it was, kind of grubby and it's freezing cold all the time. I loved it. It's probably my favorite city outside the United States. It is spectacular. There is a place in Glasgow that has it's called the Four Corners, and it has 4 American fast food restaurants all facing each other on the corner of 4 different buildings in like one intersection. And it's the late night spot. It's where everybody goes. It's like a freaking Pizza Hut and a KFC. And I'm not going to Scotland for the food either way, so I'm not missing out on the haggis, right? And I go over there, and it's just a really neat city. It doesn't take itself too seriously, and at least in my experience, wasn't that dangerous. So
Nice.
I enjoy it. I'll go Glasgow. Definitely not a place that gets put on the tourist commercials,
Yeah.
but is worth a trip if you ever get a chance.
Interesting. And it's about having an open mind, right? And not about, like you said, making really such a, oh, I really don't want to go there. And to be fair, it's probably better that way than the other way, where you're like, oh, I really want to go, and then you just kind of let down. So,
yeah, we're doing that one
yeah.
next. No, we're not. We're not dissing tourist spots today. But I got a fun fact for you about Glasgow that blew my mind. We're going to do this in Fahrenheit, but I'll convert it for you into Celsius. What is the warmest temperature you think it's ever been in Glasgow, Scotland?
Fahrenheit.
Warmest ever. Yeah, we'll do Fahrenheit.
I'm gonna go lower.
I'll calculate it though for our Celsius.
I'm gonna go 81.
81. Actually low. But I suppose when you ask a question like that, you totally, the warmest it has ever been in Glasgow is 87, which is 30 and a half Celsius, which is kind of ridiculous. But not as ridiculous as Julian thought it was.
Yeah,
so my fun fact is no longer fun. But yeah, if you do not want to overheat, Glasgow, great place to go. They are one of the few places that doesn't have air conditioning where you don't actually need it. So good for them. And that, unfortunately, brings a close to this show. But don't worry. Have no fear. We will be back sooner rather than later. As long as Julian isn't sick of me yet, which... No?
Don't call me a guest anymore.
Maybe?
Don't call me a guest anymore. Please.
I think he's mad. All right. Subscribe on YouTube. We'll see you next week.
Guys.